Going to go for two here.
He's going for two.
If you don't make this, you lose. If you make it, you're in a position to win.
Caught him!
One-handed catch as he goes up and gets it.
It's just a head
Welcome in. Episode 15. Was a hell of a week for two of us. I guess Chad got a win too because Notre Dame won, and then they rushed the field. But there's a whole lot of controversy in that. But no, some pretty crazy games. We're gonna go right off the top by the game that seems like it delivered on the hype.
Yeah.
Much like Joe Cool's will deliver if you order online. You can order pizza, nachos, beer, wings. We had all that already delivered here today. But I know Kaylin's itching about this game, so let's talk about it.
Yeah, it was my most excited team to watch for the weekend, and it delivered like you talked about. It was like a bowl game to me. A complete offense. Just everybody was throwing well. Defenses really weren't showing up a whole lot in the second half of the game there. Really fun to watch, though.
So what I took from that game was, first off, don't always trust your gut, and don't always trust your team.
Yeah.
So around 4:06 on Sunday, I was like looking at my fantasy roster, like, I can't do it. I can't start the Saints. I was like, I got to make a change. And I went and picked up the Cardinals defense. Like, it's Tua's like second game. I got some tape on him now. Yeah, it fucked me over.
Yeah.
Like, I won my game, thankfully, but I'm watching this. I'm like, how is this happening right now?
Hot Dog City. It was fun to watch, though, wasn't it?
Yeah, fuck. Frustrating to watch for me, but yeah.
It was also unique that you could tell the defenses were off on their back foot. They're rolling when they were talking about the rollouts going to the opposite side for a quarterback, and how you're going through many years of practice going against the rollout, going the opposite way, and then now you've done this. It's completely different to you. It's kind of like writing with your left hand, and you could see a couple of defenders were kind of like their hips.
Tua, is that what you mean?
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, it was kind of unique to see that, and it's been a while since we've seen a left-handed quarterback actually play well too. That just didn't run the ball like Vic used to do. So
right.
Well, it turns their hips, right?
Yeah.
And once those hips are turned, in the NFL, you're wide open.
Yeah.
And that's what's coming down to it. A guy like that, those guys naturally open to the right, and now you got to flip that. It's gonna fuck them right up.
Yeah.
It was nice to see like two potential playoff teams live up to the hype as well, because I know there's been a lot of teams that would just shit the bed when it comes down to like playing against big opponents, and.
Filthy.
And we think that the Cardinals have as good of a shot to win the division as probably the Seahawks, and I'm going to say that the dark horse, and Liam's going to like this, I think that the Rams still have a good shot to win that division.
Oof, okay.
I think anybody in that division, minus the 49ers, has a chance to win that division.
And that's only because of like all the injuries that have been happening. Like, those guys have been unfortunate, and we've talked about it a lot. Like the fact that they've won a few of these games, that really screwed them over when it comes to draft time, because they need a couple of things. One of those being a quarterback.
Yeah, absolutely, for sure.
And,
that's right.
No, that's the kind of offense where a rookie quarterback could be successful, because they just want to do a bunch of creative runs and screen passes. So they don't push the ball downfield a lot. And getting a guy like Trevor Lawrence, he's the guy that you could push down the field. But if you get like a Trey Lance. Or
Justin Fields there, how much fun would that be to watch? That running game, all the speed option stuff they do, bringing Devo across, the jet motion sweeps.
Kyle Shanahan would be having a real good time with it.
And with a guy like Fields, like the way that he throws the deep ball too, like it's outrageous. I think that as the season goes on, we'll see different things come up, but there's going to be a conversation towards the end after the combine where is it Trevor Lawrence or is it Justin Fields? And because the way that the draft is structured right now, I think it's going to come down to like the team that gets it.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah.
And they've been doing that since high school, those two guys.
Yeah.
Like on every level, it's been the two of them against each other, so it's like just one more thing.
Yeah.
If I'm a schedule maker, how do I make that game happen in the NFL?
It just doesn't seem like there's that big of a difference between them anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And like in August, when we first started the show, we were
the Trevor Lawrence podcast is what we were.
Now I don't know. Justin Fields is pretty fat. He's like DK Metcalf chasing after Buda Baker.
Yeah,
he caught up to him pretty quick.
We got a couple weeks off of Lawrence. I think that we're still getting away from the idea. He's probably still the number one, realistically. I mean, he's been an animal since he's been.
I'm saying the improvements that Field has made to his game, and I would definitely, anybody that hasn't watched an Ohio State game, you need to go watch one. They are not playing the top level opponents until they probably get to. Honestly, the second best team in the Big Ten right now is Indiana.
Yeah.
And like they're a top 15 team. So like until it comes down to the playoff time, unless like.
Well, the fact that you're telling me that you, a Michigan State guy, is telling me to watch an Ohio State team.
Yeah.
I mean, that tells me just right there how good Justin Fields is.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Is he the sexy pick and Lawrence is the safe pick, or like how do you think it? Because for me, I'm not cheating on my man.
Yeah.
I've taken Trevor Lawrence this whole time, and he is the best prospect in the draft. I understand, like, yes, Justin Fields is really good at football, and he is climbing up that chart, but I think it just come down to where are you picking and what are you doing offensively.
Yeah.
But I think at the end of the day, you have to go Trevor Lawrence.
And I mean, I also love Trevor Lawrence. However, if a coach had to pick one to throw the best deep ball, like Justin Fields, when he's drafted next year, is going to make it so Russell Wilson doesn't throw the best deep ball anymore.
I'm just a little bit worried because it's still Ohio State quarterbacks. Their track record is not very good, is it?
It's horrible.
Yeah, it's
it
really
is.
bad. And I mean, it's not like Clemson has an amazing one. They have one good player coming out, Deshaun Watson.
When it comes down to it, like think of like the early 2000s Big Ten quarterbacks. You have Drew Brees and Tom Brady. But since then, like
Clemson sent 4 straight to the NFL.
Yeah, they've sent.
They're
the
pretty
NFL.
good players.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, I mean, when it comes down to like this 2020 draft class, like not jumping to 2020, I don't know if I've ever seen a better draft class.
I can't think of one, honestly. You don't have from the first to the fourth round players that are giving you production every single game. And they didn't even have a preseason.
And no preseason, virtually like no real training camp, no mini camps, no like OTAs. And I don't think that there's a draft like bust. At this point, like in your first year, you can't call somebody a bust. But there's nobody that's even teetering on the like, well, I can't believe they took this guy here.
Yeah.
Like it's more like, how didn't everyone pick this guy in the first round? Like, how's there only 32 picks in the first round? Like Chase Claypool. There's a lot of teams out there like, fuck.
We done fucked up.
But like at the same time, he went behind Jerry Jeudy, who's sick.
Yeah.
Henry Ruggs, sick.
CeeDee Lamb, sick.
Jeffries,
I think Jerry Jeudy,
unreal.
Judy might be the best route runner in the NFL, I think, at this point. And he's only been in the like, what, 8 games?
Yeah.
He's insane.
Brandon Ayuk, unbelievable. The kid in Philly, Rieger.
Yeah.
He's only played in one
Jeudy,
game,
yeah.
but like he looked awesome in that game.
Yeah.
And those are just the receivers. Like the quarterbacks have been awesome. The defensive players have been awesome.
Across the board, the defensive players have been great.
Yeah. Even like I saw there was a punter that the Jets had last night. They took him in the 6th round. This guy just like dropped it on the 5-yard line. I think there was
In
something.
his defense, he's had a lot of practice this year.
I'm just saying.
The highlight of the Jets game that Shane remembers is the punter.
Hey, they
That's
were
not
people
off.
too.
Well, not often he's going to say
And
that.
there was a lot of highlights in that game, but they all got erased when Joe Flacco the game.
And he still said after throwing that interception when asked if he had a good game, I think it was a pretty solid game.
I think it was a solid game,
is unflackable.
Yeah, it was a solid game except for that one play.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah.
And when it comes down to it, I'm not sure why the Jets would have even called that play. They should have just ran the ball, killed the clock a little bit, sustain a drive. Because Frank Gore on every fucking first down, 5 yards.
4.5. 5.
Yeah,
4.5,
ridiculous.
5. Well, I
And-
think it's because they were playing for the first overall pick.
Yeah.
That's what it
And-
was.
No, honestly, I think that they went in at halftime, and the GM's like, "Hey, bro, like you're not even gonna be here next year." Like he says this to you, like you're not gonna be here next year. Like, don't fuck up for the rest of us.
Throw the dog a bone.
Yeah.
Throw the dog a bone,
You know what I mean?
please.
Like-
right?
Like, I just let's get this going. And then I think that they cut off Gase's headset, and the GM was like, "Flacco, throw the ball deep to the other guys."
And look lost. There were some times there. I think that the couple last sacks that he had against him, where he legitimately had the ball, had time, looked at the defender, and was like, "Oh," and ran to the right side. It was so pathetic. It's terrible.
Yeah, but I mean that draft class has been crazy. So let's talk about some of the guys. If we were to give out offensive rookie of the year and defensive rookie of the year,
Yeah.
let's talk about some guys that we think are early candidates and probably like strong contenders.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so for offensive rookie of the year, I think I'm taking an easy one here for me, Justin Herbert. It's easy for me to go with him. 300 yards a game, 70 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. He's playing lights out every single game. I know they're losing, but he's still putting up the yard. Just not all his fault.
Yeah, for me, I'm going with the first overall pick, Joe Cool. Joe Burrow. There was a guy named Joe Cool before.
Smoking Joe Burrow, yeah.
I was not plugging it, but I'm definitely going to plug it now.
Yeah.
They do.
For the brand.
Yeah. Delivery, free delivery, football feast combo, large pizza, wings, and large nacho.
Yeah, and Joe Burrow's family orders it, and that's why he delivers every Sunday, except for this coming Sunday.
From the couch on the app.
Yeah.
Easy peasy.
Yeah, you don't even get up. You can pay on there. I guess you got to answer the door, but like whatever. I'm sure if you leave a note.
I'm sure there's an app for that, right?
Yeah.
Honey, honey.
Yeah. And yeah, while we're thinking about it, because we forgot to talk about it last week. If you order from Joe Cool's, take a screenshot of your online order, send it to us. You get 20% off of any of our merchandise.
Yeah.
No limit. Christmas is coming, guys.
Sounds like a great deal.
Yeah. Amazon has enough money.
Apple boys out here.
Yeah, support local. But yeah, so you were saying Joe Burrow. You guys are going to say homer pick, whatever. I don't care. Chase Claypool.
Surprise, surprise.
Way above advertised. The guy is changing the way that the Steelers play offense.
Yeah.
He's also, he has rushing touchdowns.
Mm-hmm.
And he has receiving touchdowns. And he blocks like a motherfucker.
And what did he have this last week? They didn't have very much, right? But his job was just to take the entire defense out of the game.
And that's literally what happened.
And, yeah.
And like, it wasn't necessarily the offense that had a terrible game. And I'm not even prepared to say that. We'll get into the Steelers after.
Sure.
Anyway.
Should we have
I think
Yeah.
the fact that the guy has 7 touchdowns, and he's probably going to have 15 by the end of the year.
Ooh.
Yeah, he's
It's
just
a bold prediction.
Lofty.
he's just heating up, eh?
Yeah, I get it.
He's due for another 3-touchdown game. Maybe that's this week. I don't know. Maybe he'll save it for Baltimore on Thanksgiving.
Sure.
You don't. We just never know. But I'm gonna say Chase Claypool. It's not often that a receiver would win that award, and he's probably in the wrong class to win the award.
Yeah. What a tough year, eh?
But if I'm mailing in my ballot, unlike Chris Collinsworth, I'll get it in on time, and that's where we're going for that.
Nice.
And then I'll just go right back to back. So for defense, I'm going to take Jeremy Chin from Carolina.
Yeah.
Now, he came from a small school, I believe, like Rhode Island.
It was Division II, I believe.
Yeah, Rhode Island. And for some reason, this guy doesn't need a training camp. He doesn't need...
Athlete. He's just fast.
He's unreal.
Hits hard. He's a contributor across the board. He played special teams and was a great gunner on special teams.
Yep.
And now he's starting to get more involved in the defense. They're putting him as like a, what do they call those, like the special linebackers that they had. Deion Buchanan played in Arizona. The star or whatever they call him.
Yeah.
It's different every offense.
It's like the safety playing a
it's
linebacker.
a linebacker, right?
Yeah. But he's coming in and playing that and showing up on film too. Like he's definitely showing up for sure. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I like that guy. I think that he's probably actually like one of the favorites. He's probably one of the best defensive players in the league that no one's really heard about.
Yeah.
It's Carolina just doesn't have the pub that everyone else is getting, so we'll see. I mean, you're going to hear that guy's name for a long, long time.
Yeah. Another guy's name you're going to hear for a long, long time. Patrick Queen. That's who I'm taking over to Baltimore. Yeah. He's I think he's a leading tackler right now. If he's not, he's only a couple shy of being a leading tackler anywhere. He's a coverage linebacker, so he's showing up in the pass game. He's great against the run. He's involved he's hyping up the team on the sidelines. He's becoming a quick leader there. He's starting to look like Ray Lewis there, the way he's involved in damn near every play.
The home nightclub.
Yeah.
Yeah. Home nightclub. Yeah, big shoes to fill for sure. But I think he's doing really well this year so far.
And for me, I'm gonna take Shane's blade here and go homer. That's usually your call or your call. I don't care. It was all of us. Antoine Winfield. I actually wasn't sold on when he came out of the draft. I was sitting here watching the draft with Shane, and I was like, "Fuck, he's a midget."
Yeah, he's small. Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh, this is the last thing we've missed on so many safeties."
Big Ten boy.
Yeah, and like his dad was a stud in the NFL.
Yep.
And I don't think the apple fell far from the tree.
I think it was like game 2 when we realized that he is the windshield and he lets the other people to fly, right?
Yeah.
And like he comes downhill and he's hitting you every time. He's breaking up passes. He's pretty good in coverage too, which is actually what shocked me for his size. Like being so short and stout, like usually you get beat over top.
He does have some stiff hips. He has shown examples of that this year, but he has come out of it for sure.
Yeah, he can coach his way out of it.
Yeah, so I mean, it's something he's shown he's good.
So yeah, I think obviously he's a long shot. It's not the sexy pick, but I'm gonna go with him just the way our defense has been on the back end. He's definitely helped solidify it and helped us out a lot this year. So
for sure. And coming in the last one, unique one.
Like this one was a runaway until Josh Allen's leg got ripped off, or not Kyle Allen's leg got ripped off.
Yeah.
So
it was probably going to be Ben Roethlisberger.
I'll say
it. So it's your homer.
Probably still should be.
It very well should be. Yeah.
The guy had Tommy John surgery and is off to the best start in his entire career.
Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah.
At the age of 38, 17 years in.
Yeah.
But
I think Alex Smith is going to take this one home, guys.
I said that before the season started.
Yeah. I mean, like, the fact that he gets announced as the starter and then Rivera comes out and says, well, now Dwayne Haskins can take the opportunity to actually figure out what it's like to prep for a game from a true professional. Like, that just tells me that it's not, Dwayne's never playing the rest of the year. They're going to ride Alex Smith for the rest of the season and see what he can provide. And, I mean, if anything, indication of what, I know he's playing the Giants. It wasn't a good team, but it's his first game back, really. You know what I mean?
Right.
And he didn't look like he was ginger on that foot at all, or the leg at all. He looked like old Alex Smith. He even took a few shots downfield to Scary Terry, which is what Terry McLaurin needs, right? I mean, Terry could be an offensive rookie of the year potentially with him being a quarterback. So yeah, I think Alex Smith is probably going to take this one home.
Who could be?
Sorry, not a rookie. Sorry.
Yeah, I was going to say.
I'm sorry. Yeah, he's a good wide receiver nonetheless. Sorry.
Well, I mean, if between him and Derrick Henry, whichever one of them.
Stop it.
Whichever one of them.
Stop it.
They're almost rookies, right?
Yeah.
So into our favorite segment of the week, though.
Yeah. Our friends at the bugguysoflondon.ca.
Yeah.
I don't think it's their actual thing is bugguys.ca. But we say Bug Guys of London just because,
London.
we support local.
Yeah.
We don't support Amazon. We support local. But yeah, bugguys.ca. So we have the offensive pest, defensive exterminator. So
I'm going to throw it over to you. Start with you there, Chad, for offense.
Well, I'm going to do the first one that's never been done yet. We're back-to-back offensive pest.
Ooh, yeah.
Dalvin Cook.
Wow.
That guy is taking over football games.
Yeah.
70 yards in 2 games.
Yeah, 400 plus yards. I think it's 6 touchdowns the last 2 games.
Yeah.
And making that Minnesota offense just go.
Where would the Vikings be if this guy played like the whole year?
70% of their yardage right now in the last 2 games has been him.
Let's just remember, these guys were considered sellers 3 weeks ago. They were going to start selling some players off before the trade deadline.
Well, they did. They sold off Ngakwe.
Well, yeah. Well, but there's more that were definitely in the rumor mill, and they didn't. They held strong, and yeah, he took the rushing lead right now in the NFL. So I think he's a big part of their offense for sure. Yeah. For myself, I'm going to stick with offensive. I'm going to go with Kyler Murray. I know it was a losing game for him, unfortunately, but wow, what a
Another first.
Yeah, participation ribbons being handed out.
Yeah,
right here.
Well, when you put up 100 yards rushing and like 300 yards passing, 3 touchdowns and a rushing touchdown too, and he's had a rushing touchdown and a passing touchdown in every game except for one this year, which is pretty significant, right?
Yeah.
The offense is firing all cylinders. It's fun to watch. Like I said, a bowl game. You don't see this too often.
When it comes down to it, it's definitely not his fault that they lost.
Yeah.
The kicker kind of laying up a lame duck.
Zane, who's got a big foot. I was really surprised. I thought it was going to be a clutch kick.
Maybe he slipped. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe he just thought that he got it good. Whatever the case was, yeah, I mean, we're breaking barriers. We're breaking down walls. Kalen just broke the glass ceiling, and now losing quarterbacks can win the offensive pass. I'm okay with it.
Just with significant numbers like that, you get a pass.
Yeah.
He gets a day pass?
Yeah. Good for him.
Yeah.
For me, Chad, I'm sorry. Marshawn Lattimore.
Oh!
The guy, I mean, did he wreck the game himself? Yeah, probably. And that was mostly by being in Mike Evans' kitchen the entire game.
Yeah, he's in his back pocket for like 3 years now.
Yeah.
He really does. Mike Evans is not like that guy at all.
It's unfortunate. And I'm not sure why a big receiver like that can't just just punch the guy in the face, honestly.
Take 15, man.
He smashed him from behind last year, right?
2 years ago.
2 years ago.
And he's done nothing ever since.
I think he actually tweeted out at the end of the game when they showed the stats of how many catches he's had on him. He tweeted out, "Better luck next year."
Yeah.
It's awesome. I love the jabs on Twitter nowadays, right?
Yeah, I mean, what a scheduling blunder to have those two teams play 2 games in the first 9 weeks.
Yeah.
But I guess you can't really predict what's going to happen when it comes to the schedule was probably out before Tom Brady signed it. Right?
Yeah.
So I don't know. Whatever. I mean, bad decisions. The NFL doesn't make a lot of bad decisions, but
well, leading into that game, what did you think? Was it an outplayed or an outcoached game?
So
take it easy on you. Don't worry.
I'm just gonna play it because you asked the question because the answer is yes. They got outplayed.
I like it.
Yeah. But any time that you break a record in a losing effort is a bad sign. They had 4 rushing attempts in the game.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's unfucking believable.
College ball again. It's just air raid.
I think even in the college game they're gonna run the ball more than that, and I think that I know Arians doesn't call the plays. He definitely had an influence on what was happening.
Yeah.
And Michael Brick, which is Byron Leftwich, I don't know. He just lost control of the game.
Early. They got us early. I think that's what really hurt.
They
Bucs.
were down 2 scores.
Yeah.
And they stopped running.
They did stop.
That's a
That
problem.
game wasn't over yet.
Well, to me, that was two coaches. Bruce Arians and Byron Leftwich being the two coaches I'm talking about here. That were like, hey, we've got 2 of the best passers of all time that are on the field. They're competing against each other. We're not running the fucking ball. We're gonna let them pass the entire game.
But
that's the way it looked to me, anyway.
But that's the thing. Like the Saints ran the ball.
Yeah, I get it. But I just think Bruce Arians has always been a passer. That's just his thing. Right?
I think that they overthought it and they got away from what has gotten them to the dance so far. And 4 rushing attempts. I'm sorry, if you have 4 rushing attempts and the game didn't get called in the first 5 minutes, then you already lost.
We all know that offensive linemen they love to run the ball, right? That's their favorite part, is being a mauler.
Well, and the thing is like the Bucs have invested in their offensive line.
Yeah.
Like their top 10 pick was Tristan Wirfs, right?
Yeah.
I think running the ball behind it. At one point, it was 31-0, and Shaq Barrett caused that fumble. They took it all the way down to the 1-yard line, and they didn't fucking
Run the ball once.
Yeah.
That's upset. You have
and Tom Brady, and you even had Tom Brady, the QB sneak king, right?
You know how big Leonard Fournette is?
Yeah, right.
He's
Yeah.
a grown ass man.
Yeah. Like, I'm glad that they didn't run Ronald Jones because Chad and I really needed him to have a shake. I didn't even tell Chad before because I didn't want to steward the game for him, but we needed Jones and Miller to not have 10 points combined.
And guess what?
What did they have, like 6?
They didn't
Yeah.
do it.
Yeah.
They didn't do it. Yeah, we're okay.
I don't think I saw Miller on the friggin' field the whole game.
I think he lost his job.
Yeah, well, quickly. I don't
Yeah,
even
well-
know, did Brown really do anything? I
He had a
didn't
couple
really,
catches and like.
but again,
he
first
played-
game, we'll give him a slide, right? And it was a wet game. First game, wet
Honestly, he
game.
played well.
Yeah.
Brady missed him a couple times.
Yeah.
Brady looked like shit.
Yeah.
And the same kind of thing we talked about last week. Feet never got settled. Shane and I talked about it too. Is it the weather? Can he not play in wet, damp, cold? Like, dude's 90.
Yeah.
And I was on his train the whole time.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I was all about it. And I was all on the Tom Brady hype train. And I was cool with it. When you get those warm weather games, you have those 2 games throws around 5 touchdowns apiece. It's like, hey, we got this figured out. Goes down to New York, plays like fucking shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This week we had tropical wind alerts all day long. That rain was spiraling.
Yeah.
Can he not play on a damp field?
I don't know.
Like, we're all old. We know what it feels like to wake up in the morning. And I eat tomatoes. I don't know.
Breeze was doing it alright.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, Drew Brees is different.
Honestly, like I go to the gym 3 times a week and I feel like a bag of dicks every morning when I wake up. So.
I don't think Tom's doing this. Though.
Yeah, he's not.
Yeah.
We're not dropping $1 million in recovery on us.
He's not drinking delicious toboggan beer, though.
Yeah.
That we
But-
drink all the time.
But yeah, if you're looking for a weight loss program, toboggan beer is your way to go. I would try it with pizza. That's basically Atkins, right?
No scientific data behind that. Liability reasons.
Yeah.
Speaking of like hype train though, I think I might be on it with Taysom Hill. I don't care that he's 30 years old. Wow, I just love watching the guy get on the field in every aspect. Doesn't matter if it's a punt, kickoff.
He looks like one of those fucking Simpson characters when they brought in all the steroid baseball players.
Yeah.
Fucking Hedrick Lamar.
But he's just so fun to watch. I don't know. It's just like it's a flash in the pan. It's like getting to see Tyreek get the ball. Something's gonna happen. You know what I mean?
I knew we were doomed. I told Jay this morning. I was like, it was like 3rd and 2. And they brought him in. I'm like, well, fuck, he's going to run up the middle on us. And he didn't even put his head down. It was a straight drop back pass. And I was like, oh, fuck.
Yeah.
And it was a dot.
Like, yeah, he just dropped it right over top of fucking Devin White's head. And I was like, that's our best coverage linebacker. Oh, fuck, we're dead.
Yeah.
And then, like,
Then
the
the
next,
running
literally,
back? Oh.
the same fucking drive, the next, like, set of downs, it's like 2nd and whatever. He just runs a goddamn fucking seam and takes a shot and then stands up over the DB. I'm like, oh, it's over.
Yeah.
It's over.
You can tell he's
Like,
over it. You can.
I was like, this fucking Mormon just fucking destroying us right
Yeah.
now.
Yeah, I mean, whatever it was, the 36-hour span of the start of the Clemson Notre Dame game to the end of the Bucs game was like,
What a roller coaster for this guy, huh?
my God.
Like, I would have loved to
We
see a hard
watched it.
track.
Like, we watched it together. Like, overtime, we sat there, like, we just, crazy win. And then go into, like, Sunday, like, the 1 o'clock games were, like, whatever. They picked up steam at the end. 4 o'clock, like, some pretty good finishes. Like, the good teams ended up winning. Like, the Chiefs held on. The Steelers had a comeback win, And then we're like,
Trap game.
well, Yeah, that's fine. Call it a trap game all you want.
It's just funny that we talked about it just
won.
a week prior.
Yeah.
It was funny it came up. That's all.
Yeah.
But like, I was so high going into that game on Sunday night.
On.
Not on the marijuana.
I don't, yeah. You gotta be. I don't know. You tell me what you're on. I don't know.
Like, I was so looking forward to that game Sunday night. And like, my girlfriend's there, and she's like, "What are you doing this?" I'm like, "I don't care what you do all day long. If you're coming over on Sunday, like, we're watching the game, leave me alone." And then literally, I was like, at one point, she looked at me stone cold at a halftime. I was like, "Should you go to bed?" She's like, "Do it for your team."
I did text him and ask him at one point if Chad went to bed.
He toughed it out.
I toughed it out. I was like, "Fuck! Like, I should have done it for Tampa. I should have done it for the people. I should have went to bed." The Monday nighter, same thing. I'm like, "This game's fucking stupid. I'm going to bed." Turns out to be another great game. So really, I'm the one just fucking up my own football life.
Yeah.
Tom looks so upset on the sidelines, but his hair was just blowing in the wind. He just has his head down. Like,
Did you see when him and Drew shook hands?
Well, you know what's funny is he actually came out. He waited to meet up with him though. He didn't do that with Foles. That's twice now he just snubbed Foles.
There's this picture of them shaking hands, and first off, like Drew's like 6 maybe.
Yeah.
Tom's 6'5", and it looked like a little brother. Like I just told mom, and like it was like the angriest older brother look you could find.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh man, like this is such a like if I'm Drew Brees, I'm putting that on my fridge.
Eating
Yeah.
Dubs. Oh my
Jameis
god.
Dubs.
see it?
Yeah, that's rough, eh?
Yeah.
Getting that rubbed in your face.
Yeah.
I'd seen
How's
Sean
$2
Payton,
million? Like you fucking
Sean
loser.
doing the drip. Sean Payton doing the drip in the locker room after. That was pretty funny too.
Don't get me started on Jameis Winston. That guy get hit by a fucking bus and I wouldn't care.
Jeez.
We'll leave you
Family
alone
show.
with the Buccaneers stuff.
Yikes.
We picked on you long enough, I think. Did you want to touch a little bit on your Steelers game? I mean, that would ended up being an actual thrilling game. I mean, I was excited just to see the Steelers kind of being down, just I was wondering what was going to happen there. But it ended up being a really fun game at the end.
Yeah, I think what it comes down to is like the perception is like, oh, they're whatever they were, 2-6 versus 7-0, and you're like, they're gonna kill them. And like, I'm not gonna lie, I definitely thought it was gonna be a little bit of a different outcome of the game.
Gilbert Delbert showed up.
But did he really?
I don't know. Come on. No,
I
that's
mean-
a Steelers defense. He was still threading some needles in there.
Here's the thing, like one of the receivers made a lot of really good plays. Like there was a play on the sideline towards the end of the game that maybe 2 people in the world could catch, and one of them happened to be CD Lamb.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
And he the defense couldn't intercept it, so like maybe that's an okay play for a quarterback. But do we think that Gilbert Dilbert is going to do anything?
No,
moving forward?
no. But we will say,
And-
Gilbert, you had a good friggin' game.
And here's the thing: like if he was an adult quarterback, the Steelers would have blitzed him and played coverage like normal. But they drop people back, and then the guy like runs out for a 10-yard scamper, and like Tony was like, "Oh my gosh, we're on to something!" Like, yeah, you're really not though.
27. But he's 20. I think
Yeah.
he's 27 or 28
Like,
year old quarterback.
if your team was any good, and if Gilbert Dilbert was any good, then it wouldn't have been a 10-point game going into the fourth quarter because they wouldn't have kicked all those field goals. They
Yeah.
would have converted them into touchdowns. And if Ezekiel Elliott was any good at football, he would have also ran through the holes that Tony Pollard was
finding.
crushing through.
Yeah. So there's a story. Are they going to trade off Zeke and be able to, is that how they're going to be able to fit Dak in?
Impossible. No one's going to take on that contract.
Yeah, I know. I mean, if they're eating some of the salary back, but
Well,
it
Dak's
may
going
be-
to Tampa. We already talked about this. We're dropping the Brinks truck on his yard after this week.
What it comes down to is like, until this week, I was very skeptical on what the Steelers were. Now I know that they are a tremendous team that is on the same level as Kansas City, that can shit the bed and then just turn it on at the last second and get it done. Because that's what Kansas City does. That's what the old Patriots used to do. Who else? Like Green Bay can do that. Like the teams that can just flip a switch and it's over.
Mhm.
Like Baltimore doesn't have that. Indianapolis doesn't have that.
Ooh, I'm hearing that.
You're not gonna like that. Tennessee also doesn't have that.
No, I agree, but
But,
we're
like-
built a certain way.
Yeah, I
We're
mean,
built that way.
like, there's maybe 3 teams in the league that have that right now.
Yeah.
I think it's the Chiefs, the Steelers, and the Saints, and that's it.
Yeah, one funny stat I read today actually is just to show how shitty the NFC East is. But the Eagles, they have a 78% chance, 79% chance of winning their division, and yet the Steelers only have a 72% chance of winning their division. They're 8-0. It's crazy.
Right.
Isn't that insane?
It's the dumpster fire of the NFL over there,
It
man.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah.
And when it comes down to it, like, do I think that the Steelers should win the North by now? Yeah. But I also think that the Colts should have won, so. Yeah, the phantom interception, we're not going to get into it because no one really gives a fuck about that game.
Yeah.
But that phantom interception, that's bullshit.
That was brutal. That was an
and
absolute
it changed the game because they took the ball back down and scored.
What I don't understand is like those are reviewable. Like that, every turnover is reviewed, right? Like, how
They
does
called
that
it
stand?
they called it incomplete on the field.
Yeah.
And that's how do you review it?
They went back and changed it. They
It's
said
so
it was
stupid.
undisputable that was an interception.
Yeah, terrible.
Embarrassing.
Almost as embarrassing as Phillips' tackle attempt when he went to turn his hips. Holy shit! How bad he got stepped on.
Yeah, he was trying to channel his 2005 Roethlisberger when Bettis fumbled on.
Yeah.
It was in that stadium too.
Yeah, that was tough.
But yeah, I mean that's pretty much enough of that. Like, I think that the Steelers are going to roll against the Bengals. I think that they're going to roll against the Jags. I honestly think they're going to lose 3 games this year, and I'm not going to predict them right now, but okay. I know which ones they are in my mind, so
all right,
that's okay.
All right,
but yeah, you had an interesting Todd Haley story to tell us.
Yeah, so I was listening to Matt Castle talk today, and he was talking about how he played for Kansas City, and Todd Haley was the coach there. We were talking about being outcoached or outplayed, and so I figured this kind of tie into that. And Todd Haley is famous for on game day being incredibly crazy, I guess. And there's an example where Matt Castle was playing against Tennessee, actually, and we were a really blitz-heavy team at that time. We were playing a lot of man, so he was taught by Charlie Weiss to actually check out to a pass play if he saw the blitz coming in. So he would check out, and every time he went to the sideline, Todd Haley was given the hard time, pass the ball, or run the ball, and he wouldn't do it. So I guess in the second half, he came to the sideline, and the same thing was happening, and Todd was giving into his ear, and Castle said something to the effect of, like, oh, Todd, as if he ever played the position. And so Todd freaked out and benched him. Well, the next drive, instead of sitting on the bench because he considered himself a leader, Castle ran back onto the field and beat out the backup quarterback. Haley wouldn't give him the plays. So Castle ended up having to leave the field, Croyle coming in. Croyle threw an interception on that very next play. The next drive, Castle goes back in because he beats out the kid again, says, I'm going back on if he threw an interception. Haley won't give him any plays again, so he decides, well, I'm going to call my own plays then. Ends up getting a touchdown. And ends up winning the game as a result, and staying in the game and winning the game. But
it's because they played the Titans.
Hey, enough of that. Anyway, Todd Haley tweeted about it today, just saying like, yeah, you know what? Sometimes you do have to get in your players' ears in a different way, and that's what I was good at doing, I guess. And Castle had his best year under me, so obviously the proof's in the pudding there, right?
Yeah. I mean, and like Todd Haley's a little bit ridiculous.
Yeah, I vividly remember this game, and I remember being like, "What is he hurt? Like he's just on the sideline? Like what's happening here? I have no idea."
Yeah. Like, stories like that, they're pretty cool when they come out. Like,
yeah,
those are the kind of things that you would expect would never, ever come out. But
that's right.
That's pretty intense that they would do that, and, like, that he's not holding bitterness, because Todd Haley basically coached his way out of the league, too.
Yeah. Twice, I think.
Yeah.
Twice out of the head coaching job and out of offensive coordinator job, for sure. Yeah.
Well, I mean, the fact that the offensive coordinator and the head coach got fired because they couldn't get along with each other, like,
that's terrible, right?
That's classic Browns. But, yeah, I mean, when it comes down to quarterbacks, and like you mentioned Aaron Rodgers maybe being your offensive pest, and then we moved past it because he played on Thursday night, and we told you that's, like, we said you can't pick somebody from Thursday and you can't pick somebody who lost. But
let me slide with one.
Yeah.
But I don't think we wanted to mention because I had a really cool stat that I kind of read.
Yeah. Well, and that's why I wanted to give you your chance. Like, I want you to.
For sure. So he's 12 touchdowns away from 400. And he's only got 86 interceptions to this point. So if you look at the other quarterbacks who were getting to 400 touchdowns, the next closest was Brady with 183 interceptions. So it's like incredible. Like he's more than doubling
the efficiency.
Aaron Rodgers. Yeah, it's insane what Aaron Rodgers is putting together. How lucky are we that we were able to see him in this time? And we're probably never going to see another quarterback play like that. Like that should have been the luck, right? And this is a guy who sat behind Favre for 4 years. Was there 3 years?
Who also threw 400 interceptions.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and that's incredible in its own right at the same time. But yeah, we're pretty lucky to be having a player like Aaron Rodgers around. It's like our Michael Jordan, or like our,
Think of the quarterbacks that, like, not only we grew up with, but like we've all watched football for at least 30 years, right? Mm-hmm. So like, think of the guys that we've got to see over the 30 years.
I can name them all off.
Yeah,
I'm a loser.
Yeah, and do it. Yeah.
So like 80s, Marino, Joe Montana. 2 best, easily.
And Marino carried that all the way into like the late 90s. Yeah.
Then he had Aikman. And Then the late 90s, we
Elway.
had Elway, yeah. Then we had Brett Favre come on then, which it's hard to put him into that category for how many times he turned the ball over, but he was just so fucking exciting.
Yeah, and
Sure.
he was the Patrick Mahomes before like ball security mattered.
And then
He
early
can play the last
2000s,
5
I
years.
think we had kind of a letdown of quarterbacks.
Yeah.
So that's when the game started changing.
Yeah.
And then now we have Breeze, Manning, Brady.
Yeah.
Now the young regime coming in. Now I'd even put Roethlisberger in that mix. I never did. We've had this debate numerous times. But now I put him into that. Rivers is the odd man out.
Well, yeah, when it comes down to between
Yeah.
2001 and 2004, think of all the guys that were drafted in the league at that point.
No,
We'll even expand to 2005 because I was there, and Rodgers, Alex Smith, all those guys. And
outside of Michael Vick in that small time, that's the one that really lasted and did things for longevity purposes.
yeah,
And then then that's when the big class came of Rivers, Manning, and Roethlisberger.
and yeah, I mean, if you watch Rivers and Roethlisberger play right now, you can tell why Eli Manning retired. But Roethlisberger still has it because he's playing on the Steelers. He wouldn't, if they took Roethlisberger and dropped him on the Colts right now, he would be what Phillip Rivers is doing.
He also has a real throwing motion. I think that is,
unfortunately,
as you get older, Rivers' motion is not doing him any favors at all.
Yeah. But I mean, Roethlisberger always got a lot of credit for throwing the deep ball, but he also had guys to throw it to.
Sure.
And when call it Phillip Rivers, there's no one that's gonna say he's a deep ball thrower.
So
Same thing with Cam Newton.
I will counter that actually. If you go back to look at Rivers' history, his whole thing was shots. He always took shots downfield. He was always a shot taker off the play action or just a seam shot of some kind. Where he stopped that was in the last 2 years when his arm strength just gone. It's not there anymore, and that's where he has lost himself as a quarterback. And he's trying to find himself back. When it's not, I don't believe it's working in Indy personally. I think it's the defense is what's carrying that team more than the offense. And
So you think they have a good defense?
I think their defense is carrying them more than their offense. Shane, yes, and Justin Taylor's doing fantastic outside of that fumble return. Jonathan Taylor's right. But yeah, I think Rivers was a shot taker. He was an accurate shot taker, whereas Fitzpatrick was just a shot taker kind of thing. So I think that's now he's lost that. He's trying to find himself again, and it's just not happening.
So you think Rivers and Fitzpatrick are the same?
I think no. What I'm saying is that he's a more accurate version. That he takes shots. He takes smarter shots, but he can't do it now. He can't put the ball down the field. He can't put the ball down 10 yards. It's a completely different ball when he's throwing at 15 or more.
You talked about Rodgers getting to 400.
Mm-hmm.
I heard today that Mahomes is the fastest guy to get to 100.
Yeah.
I think it was. You can double check this for me.
I saw
It's either 38 or 39 starts that he got to 100.
That's fucked.
That's literally just over 3 touchdowns a game.
Yeah.
That is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard.
So assuming he plays out his whole contract,
It's 10 years.
so 160 more games.
And he averages 2.5 whatever, on a low
What,
end.
54 touchdowns a year?
Yeah.
Is that what he's going to have to do?
It's not bad, right? Yeah, so he'll be 4 years old.
34, and he's going to get his one more contract after that.
Yeah, he'll be 34 years old. He'll be the touchdown leader, and then he'll get paid again.
Wow.
Yeah.
Maybe by Tampa.
I'll take him then. It's still 10 years younger than Tom right now.
Yeah.
Crazy.
40 games.
40 games, 100
40,
touchdowns.
yeah, 40 games, 100 touchdowns.
So, it was proposed today on the Sports Talk. Is he already the greatest of all time?
Mahomes? No.
Yeah. Well, but the question is being proposed. So yeah, if you can say no, then that's fine. I agree with you. I don't think that he is yet. I
don't think you can claim anybody that.
Yeah. So I mean,
you just said Aaron Rodgers. His numbers are.
So
ridiculous.
is he the greatest of all time? Is Tom the greatest of all time?
And I'll have this debate. I've had it. I pissed off on my birthday doing this. It was phenomenal. Quarterbacks are ranked off championships. Is it right or is it wrong? I don't know. But that's how it's always been, and that's the way it's going to be.
It's like goalies in the NHL. Man.
Yeah,
They're ranked off your wins. That's it.
So, right now he only has 1. If he gets 2, 3, then you can put him in that conversation.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even say Tom Brady's the best quarterback of all time. Fuck you, Patriots Nation. Do not come at me because I'll go all day with this.
yeah. Yeah, take that, Amy.
Yeah, all of you, because I know you're going to clap back at me for that one.
I'll goad him for you guys. I goad him.
But yeah, so I don't even think Tom Brady's the best quarterback of all time. So for Patrick Mahomes to put in that category, he needs to win more. Does he have the potential to do it? 100%. Mm-hmm. Is he going to have the numbers when he retires? Probably. But you can't put him in there after 3 years of playing football.
Mm-hmm.
There was a play that they ran on Sunday where he went in motion, and then he came back.
A jet sweep.
Yeah, he caught the snap in a jet sweep, turned on a dime, and threw it back the other way to one of his receivers. Honestly, I don't remember which receiver it was. I was like, how the fuck do you defend that? That's not even fair. Like, there should be a rule.
No, that's what I mean. Like,
you have to outlaw that.
Yeah, and like we've had 7 years now where the NFL is, or more than that, 10 years really, where the NFL is trending toward just offensive dominance. And I don't see Reed's tree being picked, like his coaching tree. And why wouldn't you? Like, why did McVay's coaching tree get picked up so much when literally the entire game is built around these crazy motion sets now? And that's
RPO options.
Yeah, that's all what Kansas City
sex
runs.
Sells, man. Would you rather have sex with Sean McVay or Andy Reid?
Yeah, I get the walrus. Yeah. but I will openly admit, when I watch a Kansas City game, like my mind is mentally exhausted after, because I really do try to pay attention to the offensive plays and how they develop and everything. And I can't.
I just sit with a boner the whole time.
It's wild watching all those motions on the behind the line of scrimmage. The people that are moving up from the behind the line of scrimmage to the line of scrimmage, and then the communication that they have while motioning all these players around. Like, you only get a week to practice.
The fact that none of these guys like fall over laughing when Mahomes is giving his cadence is
oh yeah, what did Andy Reid said he sounded like?
Kermit the Frog.
Yeah, something like frog. It was something like a throaty frog or something like that. Yeah,
Yeah, no, like I think arm talent wise, Mahomes probably is the best ever. Just arm. You can't teach that arm talent.
Yeah,
he throws that ball from anywhere, and any
off his
angle.
feet. He could be jumping in the air and still get 40 yards on the field.
But we know that Josh Allen can throw the ball farther, right?
Yeah, on his knees probably too.
He practiced with watermelons.
No, he didn't. Really? That's an interesting
like
thing.
His family has like a melon farm.
No, he
and that's
didn't.
How he got used to like throwing the ball, because he was so.
I didn't know that.
I don't know if it was cantaloupes or melon. Like it was something like that.
That's amazing.
It's unreal.
So he goes from throwing a 4-pound melon to throwing a 1.5-pound football.
Yeah.
Like, oh my god, that's awesome.
And imagine like if that guy's playing in New England, the football is even lighter.
Yo.
You could throw that thing end zone to end zone.
Yeah, that's right, for sure.
I would love to watch them go head to head. I missed that in the Pro Bowl when they had like the little.
The longest throw for the challenge and the accuracy challenge.
I'm telling you, it's gonna happen.
They did the 40-yard dash a couple years ago when each team sent somebody, and like, it was a pay-per-view thing. I think they actually did okay with it.
Yeah,
I would like.
They should
I want to watch those two guys. Well, come on now.
We just the draft
on a sundial, or
they do the side by side on the draft where they virtually put it in there. It'd be nice to do it.
Did you put him beside anybody on the Chiefs?
Did you guys see the
Michael
one that they
Richter?
did for NFL Network where they started him 15
yards ahead? Yeah,
and
he still got smoked.
It was by alignment.
It was the Buda Baker thing.
Oh yeah.
So they started 15 yards ahead of DK Metcalf, and Buda Baker was already running, and he sprinted way past them within like 10 yards.
And then, again, the stuff that we are spoiled with this day and age that we get to see, right? Amazing.
Couldn't find anything.
Sorry.
It did say he grew up on a farm, but didn't say.
It's a melon farm, yeah.
Okay.
That's interesting. Regardless, who cares?
He's throwing cows.
Pretty cool, yeah, for sure. So going into leading the Thursday night game.
Oh, who's playing this week?
Hey, it's the Titans and the Colts. We're coming to a meaty part of our season here.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be a fun game to watch. Thursday night game in Tennessee. Those are always nice.
You know, not gonna be any shocker for anybody that watched the last episode.
Put the towel on.
I'm only putting it half on because Chad still deserves the other half.
Oh, okay.
But it would be weird if we stretched it in front of you, because then no one's gonna be able to see you.
That's right. I did make up a couple games.
You do it face for radio though.
My mother thinks I'm handsome. So fuck you.
Well, yeah.
She has to say that.
We also like say nice things to our only visitors. So,
you guys on the podcast should see his disgusting face right now. Listening on Spotify, I wish you could see Kalen's face.
Yep.
But yeah.
So Thursday night anyway.
Yeah, we already know who you're picking, so why don't you give us some good Tennessee banter?
Yeah.
So that then Chad and I can decide who we're going to
Who the real winner is going to be.
Well, we're finally going to have Clowney back. He was out, not finally, but he was out last week, so he's going to be playing this week, which is nice.
So he played the first 7 weeks?
He played 7 weeks, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And then he was injured. And then we got Desmond King, who showed up pretty good in the last game that we played.
Mm-hmm.
And Jeffrey Simmons just won the Pro Football Focus Defensive Player of the Week. I know you guys don't like your PFF, but it's a pretty fun win anyway.
And it also said my offensive line was stacked.
It's too bad that all the bars are shut down in Tennessee, because I'm sure you could just go out and pick up chicks saying, hey, guess who's the PFF Defensive Player of the Week this week? And they're like, fuck is this guy?
330-pound boy. Yeah. So, but who do you think you're going to go for? I am picking Titans, by the way, obviously.
I'm not. I'm gonna not make this quick, and I'm going to say, do I think that the Titans have potential to make the playoffs? Absolutely.
I feel like when he talks about the Titans, he surgically dissects them for me. It's awesome.
Yeah, and that's what you need. I think that they're still searching for their offensive identity, which is scary because it should be line up Derrick Henry and pound the fuck out of the line and use play action.
Yeah, everybody's got the mask on that says just give the ball to Derrick Henry.
Yeah, and bring in your backups. You got Devonta Foreman.
Yeah, he's awesome. He's looking really cool, man.
I mean, that guy was a great college running back. I mean, I don't know how these guys are great college running backs and they don't develop. I guess maybe if you get too many carries, like your body can only take so many hits.
Houston just didn't really pan out down there.
But the number one problem that Tennessee has and why they're going to struggle against the Colts is because they have no pass rush. And if you can't get to Phillip Rivers and mess him up, the guy's been in the league for 17 years. Mm-hmm. He can pick you apart. Your coverage isn't good enough to stop all of that. Now,
still don't know if Adore's back this week. If he doesn't play this week, he's done for the season.
Honestly, like when it comes down to it, I've only ever heard a Titans fan say like how one corner changes the.
You said it last time, but I still say he's a first-round pick. You lose a first-round corner, and your backup corners from there are Jonathan Joseph, who got cut. That was one of my big grapes. He got cut, right?
He sucks.
Yeah, and he got signed by Arizona. Maybe that's why they lost, right?
But it's all better, okay?
Yeah. And
then from there, behind Curtis or Corez Borden, he was a practice squad player for the Jaguars this season.
That sounds like an army base.
Yeah, we got a fifth-round corner who was actually missed a couple of games this year too. So we have no depth. When you're missing your first-round corner who's been there for 4 years, coming into a contract year, his fifth year coming up here, it's a big loss. And Christian Fulton, who we drafted in the second round, has missed 3 games now too as well. So we just don't have depth in the corners. We need our starting corner. That's why we made a trade for Desmond King, and he played very aggressive.
Desmond King's a player, a real player.
And as a result of the coverage that changed, we had good coverage in that last game. We ended up getting a couple sacks, which says he hasn't done very much this year. So we looked to now, mind you, Chicago had a terrible line, but
yeah, well, and yeah, I mean the Colts have a great line.
They're the best in the league.
I think that the Colts run their team the way that you guys want to, but you guys have the personnel to run the offense. So if for some reason you guys could figure out how to play like the Colts play.
Oh, I don't know. I don't ever want to hear that ever again.
Yeah, if you could figure out how to play like the Colts play.
He just finished.
Then,
oh, no, that was not a fit.
He's gagging.
Yeah. That's like me saying that the Steelers should be emulating the Ravens or the...
Well, we've all seen Ben run. They can't do that.
Yeah, Ben can't play that Lamar. But Tannehill could definitely do what Phillip Rivers should be able to do.
Yeah.
And if you guys used a stable of running backs, using Derrick Henry as like the pin, the guy that's going to knock it down, then there's no doubt about it that you would be a tough out. And I'm gonna pick the Titans because I actually think that they're going to be able to get a few sacks, and I think that Rivers is in trouble.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Don't say that. Last time you said that about Breeze too. I don't. You jinxing these guys on me now. I think. Yeah. I see what you're doing over there. Jesus, man.
Yeah, but if Adoree Jackson comes back, then you guys are the automatic favorite to win the Super Bowl.
Stop it.
But this week, I think that they do beat the Colts.
Yeah.
So I'll take my half of the towel now.
Look good on you guys.
Well, I have a really good belt I can throw on the other shoulder too. So
Yeah.
Don't want to blind the camera out there with the bling on me.
Yeah.
I think for this one, I'm just be nice and simple. I'm not going to go give a rant like Shane did.
I only did it because Tennessee's playing.
I know.
Underhanded or backhanded compliments over there.
I'm just going to take the Titans. I think they're just going to run all over them. I know that defense is good, but you guys are going to win that game. You're a better football team everywhere. I know your back end is rough right now, but I also don't think that Indy has the weapons.
Yeah, T.Y. Hilton has been a ghost this year.
Yeah. Well, he's that deep game, right? And Phillip can't do that. So.
And honestly, I win either way. So either we're going to win and pick them, or the Colts are going to win and we're going to roast Caleb.
Yeah. It's a win-win, right?
Yeah. That's it.
See, I'm going Titans. I just don't think they keep up with them in Indy. So
whoever wins this game is winning the division, though.
Yeah, well, we got to play them again in 2 weeks after. Them, Ravens, Colts is going to be pretty tough. Well, I'll tell you what's the most.
That's your schedule?
It's Colts, Ravens, Colts.
Holy fuck.
That's rough.
yeah. But I'll tell you what, just because you guys
16-0, right? Or 15-1 is the one we got told earlier.
So anyway, when you're watching the game this week, something to look for, something that's been very frustrating for me as a Titans fan, is that it's either Corey Davis or AJ Brown. One of them are going to have a great game, but neither of them can put it together during the same. Corey Davis had some great opportunities for catches last game and just dropped them.
Is Humphreys going to be back?
And he has not practiced yet this week, so there's a good chance he's not playing.
I have a really important question for this game.
Mm-hmm.
What time should I go to bed for you?
Yeah. Also, yeah. And one last thing about the game, and it's about the Titans in general, because the only full Titans game I've watched was definitely the one that they played the Steelers. But why don't they use the tight ends? And why don't they use the running backs in the pass game?
So they tried. So I actually, if you look up the halfback screens that Tennessee has done, I think we've run 13 this year. One of them was a completed pass. It's Derek either dropping the ball or the play gets blown up in the backfield, and then he ends up just dropping it as a result.
So can Foreman not catch, or like
he is not? Well, he only came up from the practice squad last week. We have a rookie running back who's been on the IR. He's supposed to be coming back potentially this week or next week. Darrington Evans from Appalachian State. He's actually the flashes that he's shown when he's played, he's been pretty good. But he's supposed to be like our pass catching running back kind of thing.
Is the game in? It's in Tennessee.
It's in Tennessee, yeah.
So Adoree Jackson will be on the sideline at least.
Well, I mean, if he's on the IR, I don't get what you're trying to say here with the Adoree
I just
Jackson.
want to make sure he's in the building because I know you guys are a different team when he's around.
We are a different team. He's our best cover corner. Like if you take out your best cover corner, you're going to be absolutely weak across the board. Malcolm Butler is not a cover corner by any means. He's an aggressive corner who plays based on instinct, right? So that's a perfect number two. Your number one needs to be your shutdown. Your number two can be instinctive and be aggressive because typically your wide receiver is going to be the one who's going to be your more route runner, who's going to be playing off of leverage, where you got a speedster over on your X receiver.
Yeah, I mean, not every team can lose their best cover receiver and win 3 consecutive games, but some teams can, some teams can't.
Yep. Anyway, not going to dignify any of these response. These were the response, buddy. So I'll let you have it.
Yeah.
Looking forward to Thursday night, nonetheless.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what I will dignify with a response is order Joe Cool's takeout.
Yep.
On the app.
Those wings were amazing.
Yeah.
I'm going to order more on the way home potentially. That's it. They were really good.
Well, make sure you send us a screenshot of your order.
Yeah.
Because then you get 20% off the Going for 2 shop.
Shit, I haven't even got that friends and family yet. It's amazing.
We can talk about that.
Yeah. Alright guys, check us out though. We are on Spotify now. So check us out there, or any other major podcast apps, we'll call them.
Yeah.
What they're called. Yeah. Podcast apps.
And feel free for
and YouTube.
comments and maybe some segments you guys are looking forward to, or some ideas you might have for us to talk about. We'd love to have some interaction with you guys.
Yeah, especially you Patriots fans. Come at me, boys.
And we know that you're a big nation, and you're awfully quiet this year, pal.
Deflategate, maybe.
Come
You
get
do it?
They might be a little deflated.
Yeah.
Come get some.
It's really funny that's how the Cowboys and Patriots fans are completely shut down this year.
It's nice. We don't even have Titans fans around.
Hey! All three of us.
Cheers, guys.
Yeah.